It was a night full of stars, and the moon was smiling over the city of Rio de Janeiro. But even the moon looked small next to what stood high above the city, a giant figure with open arms, shining in the sky like a protector. This was not a dream. This was Christ the Redeemer. This statue is one of the most famous symbols in the world. It stands on top of a mountain called Corcovado. It watches over the city, the sea, the mountains, and the people. But the story of Christ the Redeemer is not just about a statue. It is about faith, hard work, dreams, and even legends. The idea for Christ the Redeemer started a long time ago. It was the year 1859. A Catholic priest named Pedro Maria Bosch looked at the mountain of Corcovado. He said, "That is the perfect place for a statue of Christ." He imagined a statue that could bless the city and protect the people. But Brazil was changing. In 1889, Brazil became a republic. The new leaders wanted the country to be more modern. They did not like the idea of mixing religion with government. So the plan for the statue was stopped. Years passed. But the dream did not die. In 1921, the Catholic Church in Rio had a new idea. They wanted to build a great statue of Jesus. This time, the people would help. It was the 100th birthday of Brazilian independence, and the church thought it was the perfect time. The people of Brazil loved the idea. Many gave money, even if they had just a little. It was a gift from the people to Christ. The project was called Monument to Christ the Redeemer. Now they needed a design. Many people sent in their ideas. One man named Heitor da Silva Costa had a special vision. He imagined Christ standing with open arms, as if saying, "Come to me, I welcome you." Another artist, Carlos Oswald, helped with the drawings. And then a French sculptor, Paul Landowski, was asked to build the statue's head and hands. The building started in 1926. It was very hard. There were no roads to the top of the mountain. All the materials had to be carried up the steep slopes by train or by hand. Workers built the statue piece by piece, using strong concrete inside and small soapstone tiles on the outside. It took 5 years. In 1931, the statue was ready. It was 30 meters tall, that is as tall as a 10-story building. The arms stretch 28 meters wide. And it stands on an 8-meter-high base. Altogether, it is 38 meters of beauty, power, and peace. When the statue was finished, the people of Rio celebrated. On the day of the opening, it was dark and cloudy. But as the priest said a prayer, the clouds opened and light touched the face of Christ. Some people say it was a miracle. Others believe a legend. They say that on stormy nights, when no one is around, you can hear a deep voice from the mountain. It says, "Peace to this land." No one knows if it is real. But many believe it. Since then, Christ the Redeemer has become much more than a statue. It is a sign of love, of hope, and of Brazil itself. People from all over the world come to see it. They climb the mountain, stand at the feet of Christ, and look at the view. Some cry. Some pray. Some just stand quietly, full of wonder. In the next part of our story, we will travel back to those hard years of building. We will hear about the men who worked day and night, and the problems they had to solve. And we will learn about why the statue was made of stone, and not of gold or bronze. But before we go on, imagine you are standing at the top of the mountain. The wind is soft. The sky is wide. Christ stands behind you, and all of Rio lies below. You feel small. But also safe. You feel the arms of the Redeemer, always open, always waiting. Now close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you are a young worker in 1926. You wake up early in Rio de Janeiro. The sun is rising. You put on your boots. You pack some bread and coffee. And you start your climb up the mountain. Your job is to help build the biggest statue in Brazil, maybe in the whole world. There are no elevators. There are no trucks. You walk up the long, winding path. It takes over an hour just to reach the top. You are tired, but also proud. You are part of something big. This is how the Christ the Redeemer statue was built, with sweat, strength, and courage. There were many problems during the building. First, they had to decide what material to use. Some people thought bronze would be beautiful. Others said iron would be strong. But Heitor da Silva Costa, the lead engineer, had a different idea. He chose reinforced concrete. It was cheap. It was strong. And it could last a long time. But concrete alone would not look beautiful. So they covered the outside with small triangles of soapstone. Why soapstone? Because it is soft and easy to shape. And because it doesn't wear out in the sun and rain. Now, think of the hands. Each hand is 3.2 meters long. That is longer than a grown man. The head is 3.75 meters tall. Paul Landowski, the French sculptor, made these parts in France. Then they were shipped across the ocean to Brazil. Each finger was packed like treasure. The hands and head were joined to the body at the top of the mountain. There were also some dangerous moments. One day, a storm came while workers were on the statue's shoulders. The wind was strong. The rain was heavy. But the workers held on, and the statue stood firm. People said, even the mountain cannot shake him. Another time, part of the arm broke during construction. Everyone was scared. But they fixed it. The builders said, Christ's arms must never fall. The workers made a great team. They were carpenters, engineers, stonecutters, artists. Many of them were poor. But they gave everything they had to this dream. Some said they felt blessed to work on a statue of Jesus. They believed they were building not only stone, but also faith. And then there were the tiles. Thousands of small soapstone tiles were used to cover the statue. Each one was cut by hand. Some of the tiles had names written on the back, names of the workers, or their families. These tiles are still part of the statue today. They are hidden, but they are there. Like tiny secrets inside the skin of Christ. Finally, in October 1931, the statue was ready. At the opening, something strange happened. The plan was to turn on the lights of the statue from Rome. Yes, from Rome, across the Atlantic Ocean. A signal was to be sent by radio. But the signal failed. The lights did not turn on. Everyone was silent. Then, moments later, the clouds broke, and a ray of sunlight hit the statue's chest. The people gasped. Was it an accident? Was it nature? Or was it something more? Some people believe it was a sign from heaven. After that day, the statue became a symbol of Brazil. It was more than art. It was more than engineering. It was something sacred. Over the years, Christ the Redeemer has seen wars, peace, music, football, sadness, and joy. But it never closed its arms. Not once. It stands, day and night, through rain and sun, with its arms open to all. In the next part, we will follow the statue through time. We will see how it became one of the new 7 wonders of the world. We will also discover stories of people who made great journeys just to stand at the feet of Christ, and stories of miracles that some say happened on the mountain. The Redeemer waits. Always. Years passed, and the world changed. But Christ the Redeemer stayed the same. He stood high on Corcovado Mountain, arms still wide, still open. Tourists started coming. At first, just a few. Then, more and more. They came from villages, cities, and countries far away. Some came with cameras. Some came with tears. Some just came to see if the statue was real, or only a dream. There is a story of a woman from Italy. Her son was very sick. Doctors had no answers. One day, she saw a photo of Christ the Redeemer in a newspaper. She said to herself, if I can only stand in front of that statue, maybe my son will be healed. She sold everything she had, took a boat to Brazil, and climbed the mountain. She stood at Christ's feet and prayed. When she returned home, her son was better. Was it a miracle? No one knows. But people in her town began to call her the Mother of the Mountain. There are many stories like this. Stories of love, of hope, of healing. Some true. Some maybe just legends. But all of them show the deep meaning this statue has for people. In 2006, a small chapel was built inside the base of the statue. This chapel is called the Chapel of Our Lady of Aparecida. She is the patron saint of Brazil. Now, people can get married there. Can you imagine? Saying yes to love at the feet of Christ, with the whole city shining below. Many couples believe that if they marry there, their love will last forever. In 2007, something very big happened. A world vote was held to choose the new 7 wonders of the world. These would be places that the people of the earth believed were the most special. Over 100 million votes were counted. And Christ the Redeemer was chosen. Now the statue is not just a symbol of Brazil, but of the whole world. It stands with the Great Wall of China, the Roman Colosseum, and the Taj Mahal. But it is the only one of the 7 that shows a person, not a building or wall. And that person has open arms. In fact, some people say the statue is not just a statue. They say it is a message. When Christ's arms are open, he is not fighting. He is not angry. He is welcoming, forgiving, loving. Maybe the world chose this wonder not for its size, but for its spirit. Still, even a great statue must face time. Wind, rain, and lightning often hit the mountain. In fact, Christ the Redeemer is struck by lightning several times each year. In 2014, one of the fingers was damaged by lightning. The finger was repaired. People joked that Christ was giving the world a high five. But keeping the statue clean and strong is not a joke. Workers must climb the statue often. They check the stone. They clean the surface. Sometimes, they replace broken tiles. Each one must match the color of the original stone, which is now very rare. The workers say that when they are up there, inside the arms or the head, they feel small, and also lucky. Even the climb has changed. Today, you can take a train or an elevator up the mountain. There are escalators and wide stairs. But still, many people choose to walk. It is not an easy walk, but they say it feels like a pilgrimage. They say that when you climb with your own feet, you feel the meaning more deeply. And when you reach the top, the view is like no other. You see the city of Rio, with its beaches, buildings, and forests. You see the sky, the sea, and the people. But the most powerful view is not what you see, it's what you feel. You feel the peace. You feel the message. You feel something that cannot be explained with words. Next, we will visit the modern world of Christ the Redeemer. We will talk about drones, digital models, and even how the statue became part of world culture, in music, movies, and dreams. Because this statue, made of stone, continues to live in the hearts of millions. Today, Christ the Redeemer lives in many places. Not just on the mountain. He lives in photos, songs, postcards, and even phone screens. People see his face on t-shirts, tattoos, and souvenirs. But what makes him special is not just how famous he is, it's how quiet he is. He never speaks. But everyone knows what he says. In the world of movies, Christ the Redeemer has become a star. He appears in films about Brazil. He also shows up in movies from other countries. In one action film, the statue watches over a car chase through the streets of Rio. In another, it stands calm as giant waves hit the city. Sometimes it is part of the action, sometimes just a background, but always, it gives the same feeling, strength and stillness. Musicians also sing about the statue. Brazilian singers write love songs where Christ is a silent witness. Foreign artists use the image to talk about peace, hope, or change. One famous singer said, "When I saw the statue, I knew I could not be angry anymore." There are even stories of people who visit the statue not for religion, but for inspiration. A writer who was stuck with no ideas climbed the mountain. He sat by the statue for hours. Later, he wrote a book that became famous. He said, "I did not hear words. I felt them." A dancer once said that watching Christ with open arms gave her the idea for a whole new performance. In 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Christ the Redeemer was lit with images of health workers. Doctors, nurses, and scientists were projected onto the statue's surface. People from around the world watched online. The statue became not only a symbol of faith, but of care, of science, of unity. The statue has also become part of technology. Engineers and artists have scanned the whole structure with lasers and drones. They built a digital twin, an exact copy of the statue in a computer. This helps them repair it and plan future work. But it also means something else. Christ the Redeemer now exists in the digital world. He can never be lost. But maybe the most beautiful part of this story is something simple: people still come. They come alone. They come in groups. Some are tourists. Some are pilgrims. Some speak Portuguese. Some speak English, French, Japanese. But they all stand under the same sky. And the statue welcomes them all. No passport needed. A man once visited the statue with his daughter. She was 5 years old. She looked up and said, "Daddy, is that God?" The father smiled and said, "No, sweetie. But he's very good at pretending." The little girl nodded, then opened her arms wide, just like the statue. That is what this statue does. It teaches not with words, but with shape. Not with sound, but with silence. Some say Christ the Redeemer is just a piece of art. Others say it is a religious place. Others say it is a miracle. Maybe it is all of these things. Or maybe it is something more. It is a place where people look up and feel something. And that feeling, whatever it is, stays with them. Long after the visit. Long after the photo. Long after the mountain. In the end, the statue does not move. But it moves us. So if you ever go to Brazil, and if you ever climb the mountain of Corcovado, remember this: you are not just visiting a statue. You are visiting a story. A prayer. A promise. A symbol of arms that never close. And when you stand at the top, don't just take a picture. Take a moment. Look up. And listen.